Hey, good evening. Sorry I'm a little late. We were trying to negotiate with Christopher. Where I normally sit is we have an open house in our main floor, and Christopher likes to see David Muir. I know he likes the announcers, and usually he just wants to see the beginning and then he moves on, but tonight he wanted to try to watch the news, and I'm like, no, I'll record it. You can watch it later. So good evening, Sandra. What was I going to say? Karen, good evening. I think that was you. It doesn't always tell me who's watching I don't know how this works. I've never seen it, I don't know when it comes up, like if you say you're watching or how it does that, because like there's 4 people on and I only know Sandra and maybe my cousin Karen, because I think she put a thing up. Hey, Sharon, good evening to you. I just wanted to say this is, you never know what you're going to hear from me. Hey, Betty and Pat, good evening. I was just watching, I always watch, we have dinner usually before we do this. And, I was raised in a family that always watched the news and always read the paper. I don't read the paper every day, but I get it 4 days a week. I read from different sources. I listen to different channels. Hey, Cheryl and Vaughn. So I listen to a lot of different things. Good evening, Betty. Anyway, so I always like to watch, especially at the end if I haven't got to see the news, because they usually always have uplifting stories. And the 2 tonight, I was watching CBS and NBC. And the 2 stories tonight were really great. And it was just reminding me. So the story on CBS was about a gentleman in Texas who had saved his money working in restaurants for 20 years so he could have his own food truck. Mexican gentleman here in America, and he had a taco place. But he sent his daughter a note because since COVID-19 had happened, his sales had gone way down. And so he had sent a note to his daughter just saying that he closed up early. He'd only sold $6 in one day. So his daughter took a picture of it, shared that with people, and it got retweeted 10,000 times. And since then, the line's been around the block, and he's selling out. And the reporter said, then the special ingredient that he has that you can't buy in a store is he makes it with love. And I thought, that's really great. And what I love about it is my girlfriend Deb in Illinois, she's in Colorado right now. I don't know if she'll see this, but we play games. We played games almost every Sunday night with our families. We just put our iPads up like this, and we can see them and they can see us, and we can play games. We have the same game and we play it together. So anyway, we've talked a lot about trying to support local business, because some of the people who've been hit hardest in all of this are the small mom and pop restaurants and places like that. So we purchased from several small mom and pop stores in our community, and one that I put up last night on Facebook that they actually opened during COVID, and they're doing really well. They're just a wonderful couple and family. It's Starshine's Patisserie and Cafe in McDonough. And if you ever come to McDonough, I highly recommend you go visit them. It's Christina and Brian, and they're both chefs. Christina is a pastry chef, and Brian is a, chef, or regular chef, or whatever I want to say, because they're both chefs. Because I love pastry chefs. I would never say they're not a chef. Anyway, they have 4 children. They live in the oldest school district. Their kids help out. They have wonderful young people that work there, and several of them are culinary school graduates that help with the cooking. They do wonderful bakery items. They make fantastic breakfast and lunches. They serve till 3 o'clock. I met 2 friends there yesterday, and I had their homemade Reuben. They make the bread. They make the meat. and it's fabulous. And my two friends who had not been there before, who drove up to meet me there because they said they wanted to come to McDonough Square because there's been so many wonderful things open and change on McDonough Square in the last year. Absolutely loved it. So I put a little thing on Facebook about liking them because they're trying to get to 4,000 likes. And if you come to McDonough even every 2 to 3 months or twice a year, the Rube and Cheryl is fabulous. It's fabulous. Please like them. Please look them up. You'll see it on my page. You can look at that. And please like them. I think it's wonderful to support small business. They're our neighbors. They're our friends. They become our friends. I just love Christina and Brian. I think the world of them. And I just they do fantastic work. They have an amazing staff. And everything I've had with them is so wonderful. Hey, Ellie. And I hope if there's places in your area, maybe you'll share on your Facebook page about that group. My friend Deb has an Etsy page. It's a Swedish page. If any of you are Swedish, she sells all kinds of things that are Swedish. And if you want more information, I'll see if I can share her Etsy page on my Facebook page. But you know, it's another way to care about our neighbor, is to support those around us, especially those who have small businesses. So that was really neat. The other neat story was a young man who lived next door to his neighbors, and the daughter of the family living next door was fighting leukemia, and so they'd been gone a lot with her treatments, and they didn't know. But the boy next door who mowed the lawn for his parents also mowed their lawn every week for them. He didn't want any money. He just wanted to help out because he knew they needed help. And that really brought a tear to my heart because, you know, often people don't ask for help. Often people just suffer in silence, or they're lonely, or they're quiet, and they don't ask. And so I encourage you, if somebody comes to your mind, reach out to them, call them, text them, send a note, let them know you're thinking about them. Maybe if it's an older person, offer to help them out if you can. Drop off groceries to them, or take them to the doctor, or drop them at the door, and I know we're being careful, so be careful, wear your mask. Do what you have to do to protect you and them. But, we can still love our neighbors. We can still reach out to them. And it was just, both stories were really neat and really touched me. So I just wanted to share that as we begin tonight, and for those of you who see it tomorrow. So I've been talking about, I don't know if I just shared last night, that we're looking at making Wednesday night, devotions a Zoom night. We've been having Zoom coffee hour on Sunday. We've had 4 to 10 people join on that, maybe a few more, just to check in with each other and see how you're doing. I can make sure for those of you, like especially my family and friends who don't live here, I will work to get your email so I can send you the Zoom contact. But we're looking at 2 weeks from last night at starting, and it'll be, I don't know when we'll start music with it. We're going to try at some point. We're hoping to get the Wednesday night group to be able to record some music, and if we can do that, then we would use it and have a devotion or read a book together and talk about it, called The Book of Forgiving. So I'm thinking about this, and if you have any thoughts about it, feedback, please let me know. I'm going to share a little bit from this book tonight. I talked about it in my sermon Sunday. I talked about it a little bit last night. I think it was just a little bit. Or we'll just do devotion. So I'd really love your feedback, because we could do it as a separate book group, separate from our devotions, and I'm more than fine with that. That doesn't bother me at all. So, but I really need feedback from those of you who get on here. What would you want, but I think even if we don't use the book, that we would have a devotion, and then we'd have a check-in time. And it would be neat for those of you who Like I have three cousins that get on. My brother sometimes gets on. One of my dearest friends from high school gets on. One of my best friends from Illinois gets on. We'd love to have you join us. And Ellie, you live in Decatur, and we get to see each other, get to know each other, get to pray for each other. So that's what I'm looking at for 2 weeks from Wednesday. It may get delayed a week depending on how things are going with the outdoor Wednesday worship or outdoor Sunday worship and stuff like that. But in 2 to 3 weeks, and I'll let you know how things are coming with that. We'll see. And the reason I say 3 weeks is our family is taking off after church on Sunday. We're going to Tybee Island, which is down by Savannah, the beach. And we're not coming back till Wednesday. I'll be back for devotions Wednesday night next week. That's the plan. I will not be doing devotions next Tuesday, which is the 22nd. There will be no devotions next Monday or Tuesday, but I'll have devotions. Good evening, Phyllis. On Wednesday, the 23rd. So we'll see if I can get some stuff done between now and then and have some more conversations and hear from you all, whether you'd like to just have devotions and check in, or do a book like the Book of Forgiving. And again, not going to upset me. I can do that separately for people who would like to do that. Good evening, Jeannie. But I'd love to hear from you, whether to do Zoom Wednesday night, devotions and check in, just get to know each other, check in with each other, or check in and talk about this book, and we do it slowly. So anyway, please give me your feedback. You can put your note on here. You can say what you prefer. Not going to bother me any. And I'll say again at the end what the two preferences are. So, but I'd really love some feedback from you all. So, okay. Well, I work from home today. Going out to church tomorrow. Samuel's coming with me. We're getting ready. Sunday's service will be on at 10 o'clock. It will not be like it's been the last 5-6 weeks where you could watch it at midnight, because we're doing a practice live stream service. We're doing a small group. We're having counsel and just a couple like music staff come in their cars. I've never done anything like this before, okay? This is all a learning lesson for me. I'm hoping it goes well. I'm hoping with Samuel and Todd we'll be able to stream. They'll be able to hear it over the FM station. But you all can watch it at 10 a.m. Eastern time on Sunday, or it'll be on after that. We'll save it, and you'll be able to watch it. But it'll be totally different because we're going to be live streaming the service. And honestly, I am not technological in those ways, and I'm really relying on Sam and Todd to make this happen. And it's going to be we're doing all we can to be prepared. We'll bless communion. We'll have this, but at the end of the service, after the blessing, for those who are there, and again, this is learning, we're going to bring communion to the cars, and we ask the people wear their mask, and then, of course, they'll take their mask off when they take communion, and we'll also bring the offering plate and the loose change bucket if anybody has anything they want to put in. You don't have to, but if you want to, you can do that. And then after that's all done, we will have drive-by communion. This Sunday, we're going to do our regular time, 12 to 1. So we'll hang out because we'll probably be talking about what we've learned, putting things up. 12 to 1 for drive-by communion. But again, and I really hope that those of you who watch online will give us feedback. Are there things we're not showing? Things we can do better? This is a learning process, let me tell you. Seminary 101 never taught me any of this stuff. But God is good and puts people in our lives to help us do miraculous things. And it's been miraculous, let me tell you, because if you'd been relying on me, I don't know, it would have been like this. And this is okay. I mean, I'm glad to connect with you this way, but I'm really thrilled that we can record services and put together people's music and do all of that. So, so this is learning something totally new this Sunday. And please give your constructive and helpful feedback because we need that. So, okay, so a few things I want to share about this book tonight. If you have not heard me talk about it, it's called The Book of Forgiving. It was written by Archbishop Desmond Tutu from South Africa. He was the chair of the South Africa's Truth and Reconciliation Commission, where it pioneered a new way for countries to move forward after experiencing civil conflict and oppression. And then his daughter, and I need help. I'll have to ask someone I know who might be able to help me. Mphpo, Mphpo Tutu. And she is also a pastor and is currently the executive director of the Desmond and Leah Tutu Legacy Foundation, which is absolutely wonderful. And she and her dad, they co-authored this book. Well, I shared about it last week in my sermon because it was about Jesus telling Peter that we need to not forgive seven times, but to forgive 70 times 7 or 70 times 70, which depends on how you translate from the Greek what it says, and it can be either way. But as I've said several times, I think the point of that is that Jesus is saying it's a process often to forgive. It takes time, and that the part of the work of being a Christian is being willing to do something that seems impossible, which is to forgive someone who has hurt us deeply, wounded us. And it's not to forget. It's not to stay with an abuser or someone who punishes us or hurts us emotionally, spiritually, physically, psychologically. But as I shared Sunday, and as I've learned in my own life, when we do not forgive, we carry, it eats us up inside. And so forgiveness is a process. So I wanted to share a few things from the introduction to the book. It's called Introduction into Wholeness. So I'm just sharing a few things that they've written in the introduction that I think speak to me. And this is Bishop Desmond Tutu with this part. As chairman of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, I have often been asked how the people of South Africa were able to forgive the atrocities and injustices they suffered under apartheid. Our journey in South Africa was quite long and treacherous. Today it's hard to believe that up until our first democratic election in 1994, ours was a country that institutionalized racism, inequality, and oppression. In apartheid South Africa, only white people could vote, earn a high-quality education, and expect an advancement or opportunity. There were decades of protest and violence. Much blood was shed during our long march to freedom. When at last our leaders were released from prison, it was feared that our transition to democracy would become a bloodbath of revenge and retaliation. Miraculously, we chose another future. We chose forgiveness. At the time, we knew that telling the truth and healing our history was the only way to save our country from certain destruction. We did not know where this choice would lead us. The process we embarked on through the commission was, as all real growth proves to be, astoundingly painful and profoundly beautiful. I have also been asked what I learned about forgiveness from that experience and from the many places I have visited during my life where there has been conflict and suffering, from Northern Ireland to Rwanda. And if you don't know the stories of those countries, you can easily Google it, and there's movies about, I'm sure about both. I know there is about Rwanda. This book is a response to this question. It is also an answer to the unspoken question that lies behind. How do we forgive? This book is written for those who need forgiveness, whether they want to forgive or to be forgiven. And then he goes on to say, I would like to share with you two simple truths. There is nothing that cannot be forgiven, and there is no one undeserving of forgiveness. When you can see and understand that we are all bound to one another, whether by birth, by circumstance, or simply by our shared humanity, then you will know this to be true. I've often said that in South Africa there would have been no future without forgiveness. Our rage and our quest for revenge would have been our destruction. This is as true for us individually as it is for us globally. There have been times when each and every one of us has needed to forgive. There have also been times when each and every one of us needs to be forgiven. And there will be many times again. In our own ways, we are all broken. Out of that brokenness, we hurt others. Forgiveness is the journey we take toward healing the broken parts. It is how we become whole again. And then he says, whether it is the tormentor who tortured me brutally, the spouse who betrayed me, the boss who passed me over for promotion, or the driver who cut me off during my morning commute, I face the same choice, to forgive or to seek revenge. We face this choice of whether or not to forgive as individuals, as families, as communities, and as a deeply connected world. The quality of human life on our planet is nothing more, I love this, than the sum total of our daily interactions with one another. Each time we help, and I told you about those stories that I saw on the news tonight, and each time we harm, we have a dramatic impact on our world. Because we are human, some of our interactions will go wrong, and then we will hurt or be hurt or both. Forgiveness is the way we set those interactions right. It is the way we mend tears in the social fabric. It is the way we stop our human community from unraveling. The path of forgiveness is not an easy one. On this path, we must walk through the muddy shoals of hatred and anger and make our way through grief and loss to find the acceptance that is the hallmark of forgiveness. While it would be much easier to make this journey if the route were marked clearly, it is not. The boundary line between those who have caused harm and those who have been harmed is not clear either. Each of us stands at one moment as the one who has been hurt, and at the next moment as the one who is inflicting the hurt. And in the next moment we straddle the boundary, lashing out in pain and rage. We all cross the lines often. Wherever you stand, whatever you have done, whatever has been done to you, we hope this book will help you. Together we will explore each aspect of the fourfold path of forgiving. Telling the story, naming the hurt, granting forgiveness, and renewing or releasing the relationship. We invite you to join us on this healing, transformational journey. It doesn't matter whether you are having trouble moving forward from the wrongs that were done to you, or whether you need the courage to admit the wrongs you have done. Forgiveness is nothing less than the way we heal the world. I love that. We heal the world by healing each and every one of our hearts. The process is simple, but it is not easy. I am writing this book with my daughter, Mofo, who is a fellow priest. They're Episcopalian or Anglican. And there is a little bit of a difference. But they're all part of the worldwide Anglican Church. Mofo has worked deeply with parishioners and pilgrims in their search for forgiveness and healing. She is pursuing a doctorate on the subject of forgiveness and brings a wealth of knowledge to this collaboration. She also brings a very personal story of her own journey along the fourfold path and shares her struggle to understand and forgive. This book is an invitation for you to walk with us on the path of forgiveness. In it, we will share our personal stories along with the stories of others who have inspired us and what we have learned about the process of forgiving. We have seen this process work to transform situations and restore relationships among family, friends, strangers, and enemies alike. We have seen it drain the venom from the small, everyday slights we can carelessly inflict on one another and bring healing in the wake of the most brutal acts of cruelty imaginable. It is our most cherished belief that there is no one who is irredeemable, no situation that is without hope, and no crime that cannot be forgiven. If you are seeking to forgive, we hope to point the way to freedom. We will show you how you can release a perpetrator's hold on you and free yourself from the binding chains of resentment and anger that bind you to your experience. If you are in need of forgiveness, it is our hope that this book will show you a clear path of freeing yourself from the shackles of your past and help you to move forward in your life. When we witness the anguish and harm we have caused, when we ask others to forgive us and make restitution, when we forgive and restore our relationships, we return to our inherent nature. Our nature is goodness. Yes, we do much that is bad, but our essential nature is good. Remember that God created us in God's image, and God said we were good. Even though we failed and failed, we were still made in goodness of God. That's me saying that. If it were not, then we would not be shocked and dismayed when we harm one another. When someone does something ghastly, it makes the news because it is the exception to the rule. We live surrounded by so much love, kindness, and trust that we forget it is remarkable. It is remarkable. It is wonderful. And it is easy to take for granted the love and care that people have for us. With each act of forgiveness, whether small or great, we move toward wholeness. Forgiveness is nothing less than how we bring peace to ourselves and our world. The book of forgiving is written first and foremost for those who need to forgive. We have done so because even those who need forgiveness must also forgive the harm that was done to them. This is not an excuse or justification for what we have done, just recognition of the harm that gets passed along from hand to hand and generation to generation. No one is born a criminal. No one is born cruel. Each of us is born whole, but that wholeness can so easily be shattered. In South Africa, we choose to seek forgiveness rather than revenge. That averted a bloodbath. For every injustice, there is a choice. As we have said, you could choose forgiveness or revenge, but revenge is always costly. Choosing forgiveness rather than retaliation ultimately serves to make you a stronger and freer person. And I will say amen to that, because I have known that in my own life. Peace always comes to those who choose to forgive. While both Mofo and I have seen the effects of drinking, the bitter poison of anger and resentment, seen how it corrodes and destroys from the inside out, we have also seen the sweet balm of forgiveness soothe and transform even the most virulent situations. This is why we can say there is hope. We do not enter onto the path of forgiving blithely, nor do we travel without some trepidation that it may not go as planned. Forgiveness is a conversation, and like most important conversations, it needs a language that is clear and honest and sincere. This book will help you learn the language of forgiveness. Along the way, we will offer meditations, exercises, and rituals to guide and help you as you walk along the path. Some of the exercises will, we hope, offer comfort and solace, as well as inspire your compassion. We imagine that some of the exercises will also challenge you. We would be guilty of false advertising if we didn't tell you that, like all conversations, the outcome of the forgiveness process cannot be known in advance. This book is not a cure-all or a panacea. It is our hope, however, that these pages will guide you to the outcome you seek. We trust that in these pages you can learn the skills and disposition of heart you will need to repair your relationships and in some important way contribute to repairing our world. In South Africa, Ubuntu is our way of making sense of the world. Ubuntu, the word literally means humanity. I do know how to say that because that was the name of one of our national youth gatherings in the last decade or so. It is the philosophy and belief that a person is only a person through other people. In other words, we are human only in relation to other humans. Our humanity is bound up in one another, and any tear in the fabric of connection between us must be repaired for us all to be made whole. This interconnectedness is the very root of who we are. To walk the path of forgiveness is to recognize that your crimes harm you as they harm me. To walk the path of forgiveness is to recognize that my dignity is bound up in your dignity, and every wrongdoing hurts us all. Even when we recognize our interconnectedness, forgiveness can still be a difficult path to walk. Some days it will seem as if for every one step forward, we take 2 steps back. I've had plenty of those days, I'll tell you. It is a journey. And before the beginning of any new journey, big or small, there must be the willingness to take that first tentative step forward. Now, I shared this in my sermon on Sunday. There is a Gaelic proverb which states, I love this, nothing is easy for the unwilling. Without willingness, this journey will be impossible. Before compassion comes the willingness to feel compassion. Before transformation, there must be the belief that transformation is possible and the willingness to be transformed. Before forgiveness, there must be the willingness to consider forgiving. We will take this journey with you. Even if you believe there is no way you could ever forgive, or you believe that what you have done is so heinous you could never be forgiven, we will walk with you. If you are afraid or unsure or doubt that your situation could be transformed, we invite you to try. If you are without hope, paralyzed by guilt, drowning in grief, or full of anger, we invite you to come with us. We walk this path with you because we believe it is a path that will offer healing and transformation. We invite you to take this journey with us, not because it will be easy, but because in the end, the path of forgiving is the only path worth taking. And then it ends with the poem that I read last Sunday. So again, the book is The Book of Forgiving by Desmond and Mofo Tutu. I want to offer, if you would like the book and you would like me to order it for you, you can make that request. If you don't live close to me, if you need help buying the book, say you're just really tight on money, I will have a way to be able to buy a book for you. And again, I really need your feedback. Should we do it as a Wednesday night Zoom, or should we save it and see who wants to do a book group? It might just be a few of us do it, but I'm more than happy. I'm going to do it because I shared on Sunday that I realized in preparing for the sermon, I've worked really hard. I've been hurt very deeply in my life. I've hurt others too, and I always try to work for reconciliation and forgiveness, always. I had a very, very deep hurt from a church that I served that I actually was very freeing when I felt that I was able to let go and forgive some people who wouldn't give me a chance. They felt I had done something wrong to them, but never would talk to me. And I was hurt by them, and so it was really, really freeing for me. It took several years, and it was a very unusual thing of how it happened. But so, I thought that I was done caring, that I really didn't have anybody to forgive. And if I owe you forgiveness, I hope you will talk to me. I'm more than glad to try to work through things to seek a path of reconciliation. And I say that because I've served at churches where I was so badly hurt because I'm not sure what I did wrong, and there were people who just felt it was more than okay to talk about me behind my back and my husband's back, but they were never, and it was never clear. I will say there was several Christmases, like in early December. I find this so strange, and I found it strange then. But a person in the congregation who we thought the world of, still do, always have, and whom we really admired, was sent to meet with us and tell us, well, there's some people upset with you, but we don't know who they are, and we really don't know what they're upset about. Now, you tell me how you would handle that. And it happened several years in December, right before Christmas, and here we go through Christmas, and that hangs over our head. How do you reconcile? How do you work through that? I think I still carry some wounds from that. And I say that because as I'm talking about it, I feel still really hurt. And I realize that. The situation I was talking about was I knew of several people who actually confessed that they were upset with me to somebody else who told me. And but they weren't willing to talk to me. And I think that's another thing about this book is that there are times in your life where there will not be reconciliation, and there may not be, you may not be able to say words of forgiveness to that person, and you may not hear those words of forgiveness from that person, but there's still a path to forgiveness. And that's what I'm hoping for. And I believe this book will give that. I've experienced that in life. But that story I just shared was really not what I was even thinking about this weekend. There was a family relative that said something very deeply, deeply hurting to me. Out of the blue, I don't know why they said it. I don't know what caused them to say it. I'm not sure that will ever be. I'm not sure if they even remember saying it, but I was young, very hurt. And I realized working on this sermon this weekend that I've been carrying that around for a long time. And I just buried it so deep that I thought it didn't bother me. And I thought that I didn't need to forgive them. And I really was, as a friend of mine in college said, hit by God with a 2x4 over the head, and realized that I have to do the work of forgiving this person. So, and I'm, and listen, I am who I am, and if somebody wants to use something against me that I share, well, that says a lot more about them than it does about me. And I'm not saying that's any of you, but a comment has been made to me recently that maybe I shouldn't share so much because somebody was afraid that I might get hurt if somebody held something against me. And boy, I'm just a very open book. There's some things I keep close because I need to, but I'm a very open person. I've been that way for a long time because I don't believe that keeping secrets, I think there's more harm than good to that. So anyway, that's just a little confession time for me. A few of you have already gone. So, okay. So tomorrow night is fun night. Yay, we get to have fun night tomorrow night. None of this heavy duty stuff. But I'm doing good. And I'm excited about this book. So please give feedback about the book. I want to say good evening, Deb. I talked about you earlier and your Etsy shop. Just talking about supporting small businesses. I think Swedish shop, right? Or Norwegian. I'm so bad. I think it's Swedish. I know it's Swedish. And that you have a Etsy shop with stuff from Sweden, heritage and culture, if anyone's interested. Yeah, Cheryl, are you talking about what I said? Yeah, that's happened to me. And I mean, what the comment made to me was to say, hey, I don't want anybody to hurt you. But you know what? We get hurt in life. And if somebody wants to throw in my face or hold it against me because I'm an open person, then I feel like it's more on them than it's on me. Because I'm not ashamed or embarrassed with what I share, So I'm okay. I mean, it was said to protect me. It wasn't said to hurt me. That's okay. It's okay. I'm good. I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful tonight that I serve at St. John and with great people. And I'm very grateful for a wonderful God. And I'm very thankful that even in the midst of craziness and difficulties and a lot to do and being with people, it speaks more of their character. You're right, it does. And I felt like the stuff that happened to me at the church that we served, it spoke more of those people's character than it did of us, of whatever we supposedly did wrong. If you can't tell people, what hurts you, but you send somebody else in their place to say, well, you did something wrong, but we don't know who and we don't know what, especially at Christmas time, it says a lot about them. Well, thank you. I'm very grateful for you too. Thank you. I feel like God has helped me grow through a lot of stuff. And, a few of you have heard me say I've almost stopped serving several times. And the last time I didn't serve for, almost over 2 years, 2.5 years. And, but there were people along the way when I would go preach somewhere that would encourage me and tell me you need to be back in a church. And really, I think it was a God thing when I got asked to do interim ministry because I had no training and wasn't interested in that. Well, I didn't think I was interested until I got asked, and then I was ready. I was ready, and that really has been such a wonderful gift to me to be able to serve in such wonderful churches and get to know so many great people and to help in ways that I can help. So I'm thankful. So. Okay, I did want to say happy birthday. It's Beth Mayo's birthday. There may be, Cheryl, because you've been sending cards. I don't have the list here, but Beth came up on my Facebook page, so I sent her a word of happy birthday. If it's your birthday, happy birthday. Hope you're doing well. Thank you. Yes, God wink in my life, definitely. I've had a bunch of God winks in my life, and I hope that others of you have had God winks in your life too. And as I shared my cousin Jeannie's story last night about the monarch butterfly, if you didn't hear that, it's a great story, great blessing God gave you, Jeannie. And I shared that last night, and I shared the story from the funeral yesterday of a sign they got from God. So if you haven't heard that, I encourage you to go back to the devotion last night. It really touched my heart, these God winks, and God does wink in a lot of ways, and we just got to open our eyes and pay attention. So I don't have any other devotions tonight. Any other prayers except for the ones we've been praying. We pray for my cousin Laura, who's going to be interviewing for a job. We pray for Larry as he goes to Emory to find out about his cancer. We thank God that Bill Tidwell is on the mend, doing well. Pray for Sherry, her health. Pray for Sarah and her health. Pray for God to watch over Miss April as she is living alone, but she has great people looking out for her from church, and we just pray she knows God's love. And pray for you all, whatever may be on your heart tonight. We lift it to God, and we ask God to hear your prayers, and especially for those in your life. And I hope that if you're struggling tonight, that you know that God does love you and God forgives you, and God made you uniquely you and loves you for who you are. And now as we go tonight, I hope you'll join us tomorrow night, 7 o'clock for Friday Fun Night. And again, remember Sunday is going to be 10 o'clock live stream. Hopefully, I'm praying that it will all go as well as possible. So before we go though, the Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine on you and be gracious to you. The Lord look upon you with favor and give you peace. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Have a blessed night, everybody. Hey, stay warm, Laura. You said it's really cold in Illinois. We've had tons and tons and tons of rain. In fact, our mailbox fell down today, and we're trying to figure out how we're going to put it. David's trying to figure out how to put it back up because it's a concrete pole, and it fell out of the ground probably from all the rain we've had. So
you don't need to let them know that.
Well, I know. Well, okay. and in the scheme of life, it's not that big of a deal. Right. We'll figure it out, but So, and Deb, I don't know what the weather is in Colorado, but I hope you're enjoying and staying warm. All right, take care. Good night to everybody. Hopefully see you tomorrow night.